Hi, friends. This is Steve at New Compass Crypto. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to discuss whether this is a good time to get back into the crypto markets. So, in order to make that decision, I'm going to tell you a story about how things were in the early markets in England back in the mid 1800s. So, people began to make a lot of money off of ships that were doing a lot of trade, and they were coming back with goods, and people were actually making bets on individual ships. It would go over the horizon, come back with a return on their investment. The market became so lucrative that people began to hang out by the docks, and they would say, this ship just came in, they're going to go back out. And if you give me your money now, you're going to get, 50% return on your investment, or you're going to double your money. And the people would say, well, what's on the ship? Oh, no, I can't tell you that. When's it going back out? I can't tell you that either. It's so secret, and it's so, it's going to make you so much money that I can't tell you anything. Okay. When is the ship going to come back? I can't tell you that either. Okay, so you can't tell me what's on the ship, when the ship is leaving, when the ship is coming back, but you want my money right now. Yes, and you need to get in today because it's so, so profitable, and, spaces on the ship are going, for goods and services on the ship, the cargo, so secretive. And people did this, and they lost all their money because obviously the person on the dock had no tie to the ship, didn't know anything about the ship. They just wanted to scam people out of their money, took their money and bailed. Believe it or not, a form of this still exists today. It exists today in actually the highly regulated US markets. Dark pools of money, they exist. And it's legal in the United States. So is this a good time to get back into the crypto market? Today, we're going to be talking about trust. So Sam Bankman-Fried has now been arrested. He's being held without bail because he is a flight risk. He took $10 billion from investors. And if you've been listening to what we have been saying in our webinars, you know that I feel that he has been, that it's appearing that he's basically insolvent or bankrupt since sometime over the summer, possibly in the spring. It's appearing to be much worse than that, according to what the new CEO, John Ray, is saying during the bankruptcy proceedings. It is appearing that FTX and Alameda Research were commingling funds from the very beginning, all the way back in 2019. So he has been running what John Ray called just good old-fashioned embezzlement for 3 years and completely getting away with it. So let's say that you're willing to discount all of that in terms of, trust into the crypto markets. And so, yeah, Bitcoin went down to 15,500. As I am talking to you, it's back up to 18,000, a 16% increase. So why wouldn't you get back in? Surely the worst is over. Well, it may not be. And we are going to be talking about your time horizon and whether or not to get back in and to what to get back in from. If your time horizon is 2 years and your portfolio is over $100,000, I would say it's okay to get back into Ethereum and Bitcoin at these prices, which is what I said in the last webinar. If your portfolio is under that, this is not a good time to get back in because there are things happening at the world's largest exchange, centralized exchange, Binance, that I think are very concerning. Over the last 7 days, $3 billion has left Binance. $1 billion has gone into Binance. So a net outflow of $2 billion. And that is very concerning. CZ, the CEO of Binance, says, oh, hey, this is all regular trading. This is all fine. This is not even in the top 5 of outflows in any given week. That's not exactly correct. They had to pause withdrawals of USDC, a stablecoin backed by US treasuries and US dollars. And the explanation they gave was that they had to wait for a bank in New York to open when the banks open, which is around 9 o'clock in the morning, in order for the withdrawals to settle. That's an odd thing to say for the world's largest exchange, which holds about $60 billion in assets and is based in Singapore and has banks all over the world. The last time that we checked with their reserves, they were supposedly holding over $5 billion in cash. So if you're holding over $5 billion in cash, meaning USD, the green stuff, why would you need to pause USDC withdrawals? That's concerning to me. CZ has since come out and said everything is fine, and withdrawals have started again. But Sam Bankman-Fried, the day before they filed for bankruptcy, came out and said everything's fine. So trust has been lost in the crypto world. And it is going to be a while before I think that if you have a portfolio of 10,000, 20,000, 25,000 of your hard-earned money, that you should get back in. The other thing is that if you have a portfolio that size and you've been in the crypto market for this year, you have probably absorbed losses. We have absorbed losses. I've absorbed losses, and my portfolio is larger. So it's even harder, though, if your portfolio is less, because it's such a big percent of what you're doing, and you need to make, and your time horizon is very short. You need to make money this month or in the next 6 months or this year. And that right now, there's safer places to put your money. The CPI number came out yesterday, the Consumer Price Index number, 7.1%. So whether or not, people are debating whether or not the US is going to head into a recession. A lot of people still think it is. I think that we have, a 60% chance actually of avoiding a recession, or if the recession occurs, that it's going to be in the second half of the year, meaning from June until the end of the year of 2023. And I think that it's going to be a fairly mild recession. Housing prices are coming down. So it is, I think that you can put your money in the traditional markets. I think you can put your money into the Dow Jones, and I think you can do better next year. I still think if you're going to pick between the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ, stick with the Dow Jones. The NASDAQ is still trading at about 16, 17 times earnings. That's too high for a recession. They need to come down to about 14 times earnings. The Dow Jones is trading at a more reasonable level in terms of earnings. So if you have short-term money that you need to put somewhere, put it in the Dow Jones Index Fund. That's what I would do. Regarding crypto, long-term, this is all going to be fine. This is going to be good news. Bitcoin is at 18,000 as we speak. The trading volume is slowly increasing. But all exchanges, including Coinbase, a US regulated exchange, has seen a net outflow of cash over the last week. That's concerning. CZ came out at Binance and he said, I am going to show you that I have a proof of reserves, which we reported, which we told you on our webinar series. But this is the problem with that. He said, this is all the money that I have. It was roughly, I think between 60 and $70 billion. And he said, that shows that we back everything one-to-one with our customers. So, we're totally safe. That isn't exactly true. This is why. Let's say that I invite you over to my house, and I have my house is not a mansion, but it's a bigger house than I think probably most people's houses are. It's in a lovely neighborhood, and you would come in and you would look outside my house and you would say, oh, this person's rich. They have a big house. That they're safe. But even if you go inside the house and you look at nice furniture and nice things on the wall, it just seems like the person has money. But what you don't know is this. What's the size of my mortgage? What's the current market value of the house? is the amount that I owe for my mortgage greater or less than the amount that the house is worth on the open market? And if I have a mortgage, do I have a second mortgage on it? Do I have a HELOC on it? And what is the value of the HELOC and the mortgage versus the amount of equity that I have in the house, meaning the amount that I own when the banks are done through taking what they own? You don't know that. So therefore, you don't know how much of my house is leveraged, how much I own in the house. All you're seeing is the market value of the house. That's what CZ is doing, and that's what a lot of other people are doing now. They're saying, look at all my proof of reserves. But what you don't know is, are those reserves leveraged? Has he borrowed money against the Bitcoin and Ethereum and over 1,000 other coins that they hold? Has he borrowed money against the USDC they hold or against the USD, the cash money they hold? You don't know that. And they're not doing a deep audit to reveal that. He is saying more proof is coming in the coming weeks. Well, then let's wait for in the coming weeks before we get back in. So I feel that right now crypto has a higher bar to pass than it did before, meaning rather than assuming that things are a safe haven and rather than assuming that the industry leaders are telling us the truth, we're going to have to assume that they're not telling us the truth, because so often in the past year, they haven't been telling us the truth. So I am going to be more conservative. My portfolio personally is larger. So I have gone back in. I've gone back in and gone back out. But my portfolio is larger. If I lost some money, I could afford to do that. But please don't do that if your portfolio is 10,000 or 20,000. You know, there'll be plenty of time to get back into Bitcoin if everything turns out to be safe, if Coinbase turns out to be totally safe, which we believe it is. But more importantly, if Binance turns out to be safe. Binance is 75% of the worldwide crypto market. If Binance goes under, and by the way, the United States Justice Department right now is deciding on whether they're going to charge Binance with a crime, with a felony, and that is going to be money laundering and fraud. Why? Because a lot of the coins that they hold, the US considers to be securities rather than commodities. And if you take in a security and you issue, initial coin offerings and do all those things and you make a profit on it, and if you're not regulated as a security, then that is against against US law. The rumors are that the US Department right now, the lawyers even within the US Department are split on whether to charge Binance moving forward. About half of them seem to think that they have the evidence to charge, and half of them seem not to. The SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, has not helped this matter at all, because they have not clarified what is a security and what is a commodity. Certainly Bitcoin is a commodity, but is Ethereum a security or a commodity? So all of these things need to be clarified, and there's no rush to get back in. Bitcoin's not going to go to 50,000 next week. So next week, and I think for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be talking to you about taxes. If you have lost money on your crypto this year, you want to write that off on your taxes. There's ways to do that. There's safe ways to do it, how to talk to your financial advisor. And that's a service that we can offer you. But for now, I'm going to stay on the sidelines. Jay Powell is speaking in a couple of hours, and he's going to be talking about the future, whether CPI whether he is going to raise interest rates. The consensus is overwhelmingly that they're going to raise interest rates 50 basis points in a couple of hours. But really what everyone's wondering is what is he going to begin to say at 2:30? At 2:30, the market should begin to move pretty wildly, including crypto. Because he will probably give a hint of whether rates are going to be easing up in the future, both the speed and the amount of the rates that he is going to do in January and in the coming year, or whether he feels that inflation is under control is going to be easing, and whether he is going to keep rates fairly low, meaning the increases would be 50. Right now, the market is pricing in 50 in December, 25 in January, 25 basis points in February, and then a pause. So if you take 50 and 25, you add them up, you get to 1. Right now, the overall rates that he has increased for this year are 3.88. So you're talking a terminal rate of another 1%, which you're taking about 4.88. So around 5%. And that's if he can keep it at a terminal rate of 5% and then stop or pause, not decrease, but stop for a while, then I think that the economy has a good chance of getting into a soft landing. The stock market can do well. We can get back into Bitcoin, and then we can move forward. That will also give time for this whole FTX thing to fall out. It'll give time to see if finance remains stable. It'll give time to see what is happening with Genesis. Genesis, a crypto lending firm, is still trying to find money so that it can survive. So that's what I would counsel you to do. Currently, that's what I'm counseling anybody to do that doesn't have a very large portfolio and a multi-year horizon. If you have a large portfolio and a multi-year horizon, yeah, get back in. These are good prices. That's it for today. We'll see you next week. As always, you can join us on our website, newcompasscrypto.com, and our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. Take good care. Bye-bye.